Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today I am going to show you how easy it is to take a perennial out of a container and move it into a new container. You were actually with me many times when I have planted up containers with perennials and shrubs, and then I tell you that typically that perennial or shrub that's in a container is going to have a shelf life of so many years before it outgrows the pot, and then at that point you can take it out of that container, move it to your landscape, or you can put it into a new pot. That is the situation that I am in today. So I want to take kind of any fear, any questions out and show you how easy it is. Here we have, we're right on the pathway, forest pansy bed is behind me, patio, all that is going in that direction. This container is entering into its third spring. So it has been here for 2 years. This is what we call the Dopo Bordeaux, I think, container from Unique Stone. Love this because it's wide and short. It's fat and squatty, as I say. And it is filled with only 2 types of plants. Also tell you that as my husband affectionately tells me, I have the memory of a gnat and I cannot remember like exactly what the names are. So one of my little tricks is that when I plant up my containers, I take my tags and then I shove them down into the container. You can't see them, but in cases like this, I don't have to remember exactly what they are. I have them right here. I also have my faithful companion. All right, go play. Go play. So what we have here in the back, I have 3 Carexes. This is orange sedge. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to trim this because it needs to be trimmed. Orange sedge is fun. It is a Carex, great grass, type plant. Gives you that nice foliage, kind of a flow to it. But it has a real orangey texture, hence its name, and pairs beautifully with this Euchra. It is what we call a non-branded plant, so it's not by a specific plant company, so you hopefully should be able to find it. It's hardy in zone 6 to 9, and it's for sun to part shade, which is perfect for this spot right here, 18 to 24 inches tall. So we have that. We've got 3 of them in here we're going to trim. What we're going to actually take out is one of the Southern Comfort Ukas. This is from the folks over at Terra Nova Nurseries. They are a great company. I want to say they're in Oregon or Washington State, where they do a lot of plant breeding, really unique plants. Southern Comfort is a gorgeous euchra, big huge leaves on it, has that great peachy, kind of the reddish bronzy color to it, and it will change throughout the season. Euchras, for me in my North Carolina Zone 8, a garden, do better in containers than in the ground. I have some in the ground behind me, not Southern Comfort, some different ones, and I find sometimes it just gets too wet and they struggle. I have my best success with Euchras in containers. Then I take those containers and add them straight to my garden. Now, Southern Comfort is going to be the same. It is as far as your sun conditions, sun to part shade, so that's a tip. Make sure your plants have the same sunlight requirements, and it is going to be 14 inches tall, 24 inches wide. That is why we're going to take one of them out and move it to a new container. And this is hardy in zones 4 to 9. So the time has come for me to take out and to remove one of these Euchras, because last year I was a little bit on the struggle bus keeping enough water in this container, and that's going to be your clue that you need to remove either the plant or a plant out of that container to somewhere else. When you can't keep enough water in it, that means that the roots are really well developed and they're probably taking over the whole pot, and they can't have enough soil to keep the moisture and the food that they need to have the plant really thrive. We were just up at the woodland garden in the chicken coop area where I did the 3 unique stones. Those were the rope and weave basket containers, right? And we did 3 of those as a grouping. This is going to go in that same garden, a little bit down from it, same garden. This is in the light walnut, and this is, I think, the garland jardinier. First things first, what we have is, of course, I have all of my supplies. So beside of me, I've got biotone, I've got land and seed compost, and then I have my Proven Winners potting soil. I will need that for both of these containers as we go through. First things first, we are going to go ahead and just prune back the Carexes. Let's just get that extra foliage out. Y'all, pruning perennial grasses is so stinking easy. You literally grab it and you cut it as if you were like pulling up a ponytail and you're cutting the ponytail off, right? So any of that foliage that's there, we're just gonna go ahead and take it and whack it back. Now, last year I did not prune this Carex. I just kind of ran my fingers through it and got out any kind of old stems that were in there. This year it's all nice and pretty much brown, so we're just going to go in there and give it a good cut. We'll go over in some other videos here in the next coming weeks about exactly how to prune some other perennial grasses. It's really basically the same. The idea though on your perennial grasses is that you want to cut them before the new growth comes out. That way you're not cutting out your new foliage. Now, that took all of like, what, 15 seconds to cut those Carexes back, so they are done. 2 of the Southern Comforts, and you really just have to come in here. Brenda likes being in front of the camera. You really have to come in here, and I am just going to try to figure out where these 2 are. Now, am I going to probably lose some leaves? Yes, I am. Am I worried about that? No, I am not. My number 1 tool for today is going to be my Hori Hori. We don't have a Hori Hori on the website simply because I can't find this Hori Hori as far as like in a wholesale arena that I can get a bunch of them. But you can find Hori Horis, oh my gosh, in multiple different locations. There's tons of different manufacturers that make them. I personally like this style because it has a point on the end and it has that serrated edge. This is, I think, considered like a Japanese Hori Hori. So on one side it is serrated and on the other side it is sharp. Now, when I first bought this, it was super sharp on this side. Over time, it has gotten dull. I probably could go ahead and sharpen it again, but I love that it has the serrated because what we're getting ready to go do is we're going in here and I'm literally going to saw out these eucharis. I'm actually going to take the Hori Hori, cut down this way, and then cut across between the eucharis and the Carexes. And I'm really gonna pull both of them out because I'm gonna take both of them out. One's gonna go in this container and then one we're gonna replant in the center right here, add some biotone, add some compost, add some potting soil in here. So this is where you could, if you've got some aggression, you got some pent up frustration that you need to get out, this is the time that you're gonna do it. Y'all, don't worry, you are not gonna hurt these plants. Plants are a whole lot tougher than we give them credit for. As long as you're not, you know, taken out and just trying to get just a little bit of the root, you wanna get as much plant as you possibly can. Go down, we're gonna go down the center between the 2 eucharis. I can see there's the crown is here and the crown is here, so I'm going straight down the middle and then right across, and we're just gonna work it. This is gonna take a little bit of aggression, like I said. You get to work it out, and we're just gonna go for it. Let's see if we can get this out. Okay, there's one. Yeah, what you think? Huh? What you think? All right, my friends, there you go. Wasn't so bad, but you know the roots are really developed when you pull the plant out and it looks like either a slice of pie or a slice of pizza. So there you go. Now, I got both of them out. What we're going to do is first, we're going to replant this one. You know me, I have used the method for several years. I did it with this one. Compost in the bottom. I like the Land and Sea. It's just a great quality. If you cannot find Land and Sea in your area, go to your local garden center and ask them what's a great compost that they recommend, all right? Because sometimes these soils, these products can be regional. You can have different brands in different parts of the country. So we're going to add a bit of Land and Sea down in there. As such, Biotone. Biotone, oh my gosh, so incredibly a big game changer. I just take it, I sprinkle it. Am I really super precise? No. One of my bestest, sweetest friends, she would look at the bag and it would say X number of cups, and she would get out a measuring cup and she would put it in. Is one way right and one way wrong? No, it's just how the Lord made us. We're different personalities. Just get some Biotone starter fertilizer in there. Now, it really doesn't matter which one I'm going to put back in there. We're just going to work it down. Now, when I took out this plant, right, you can see that there's a lot of extra soil right here. All right, Brenda, go play. Go play. Yeah, or come over here. Come right here. B, come right here. Good girl. Okay, sit. Sit. Brenna, sit. Okay, stay. This may not fit down into the container because it has so much soil, and then there was, coarse soil in the bottom of this. I'm going to take it and I'm just going to loosen up some of the soil in here, and I'm also, while I'm doing that, and I am loosening up the roots. By no means would I say that this container is, or this plant is root bound. However, it is certainly not going to hurt to zhuzh up the roots and loosen up some of this soil. Again, plants are a lot tougher than we think. When you're planting your eucharis, we want to make sure that they're nice, and I don't want to say like crazy deep, but sometimes with temperature, they can do what we call the heave. And heaving means where the crown of the plant almost like pushes itself up out of the ground. So we want to make sure it's nice and deep down in there. We're going to give a little test. Oh, that's perfect, y'all. There we go. So it's nice and secure in there. And my euchera is just slightly below the current soil. So that works really, really well. B, over here. So it's just right below it, so I don't have to worry about the heaving process. What we're going to do is we're going to take Proven Winners potting soil, whatever high quality potting soil that you like, and I'm going to fill in around the edges, right? We don't want our roots exposed to any air. Now, you will notice that there is dead foliage in here. I can go ahead and clean up some of this, but really we're still, it's only the middle of February here. This plant is still dormant. It is not actively pushing out new growth. Once your eucharis, you will know when they push out new growth. At that time, you can then come take your pruners, your Felcos, and all of this foliage is going to start to just lay down. It will all turn to look like this brown yucky stuff. It's going to lay down flat, and all your new growth is going to push out. Get rid of the old and leave the new. Very, very simple. All right, so I'm going to add potting soil around the edges, and then I'm going to give everybody just a little bit of top dressing of the Land and Sea compost. All right, so as simple as that, this one is done. Yes, it's a little dirty. Yes, it's a little rough looking. Am I worried about that? No. Does it bother me? No. Is this the season that this is supposed to look like this? It sure is. For everything, there is a season, and this is the season of, we here in North Carolina, spring is like banging on the door. I know that officially spring's not going to arrive for a couple of weeks. The garden is telling me other things differently. I've got crocuses, I've got hellebores, I've got tulips popping up, I've got daffodils that have little bud swells on them. So spring is going to be here very quickly. This is going to flush out so fast. All I have to do for this container, because I have perennials that are extremely low maintenance, I just water this. That's all I do. Since I added the Biotone, I don't really need to fertilize it. If you feel like you need, like if I hadn't done this and moved something out and put Biotone in here, in a couple of weeks I could come back with some Plant Tone. Plant Tone is like the Swiss Army knife of your the fertilizer world, in my opinion, because you can feed just about anything and everything with Plant Tone. So what I would have done is just come in here and sprinkle some on the top, zhuzh it in with the plants. Zhuzhing means you take your fingers and you just work it in, right? zhuzh it in, come back with the hose, water it in, and walk away. I fertilize all of my perennials once a year. That's the beautiful thing about perennials, is they are not heavy feeders. Once a year is optimal. If you don't, sometimes you just can't do it, it's okay, do it when you can. So this one is done. New container, what we've got. Yes, I did some of that soil from the other plant in here, but we're gonna take our Land and Sea. We're gonna add some to the bottom. I'm telling you, y'all, that is a game changer for your containers, whether it is your hanging baskets, it is a pot, it is a hay rack, a traditional pot, I don't care what you're doing. If you've got a pot and you're putting a plant in it, if you put compost in the bottom third of that container and then use your potting soil for the rest of it, right? It makes a huge difference in here. So I've got compost, I've got biotone. I'm probably gonna have to work the edge on this one simply because of the shape. Yeah, see, I don't know, we'll see. We need to get Brenna out of here. She's being a diva today and wants to be in front of the camera. All right, go play. Brenna, go. Or you can come sit. You wanna come sit? Okay, you stay right there. I don't have a pot. I think she wants the pot, but there is no pot today to give her. So you're gonna be disappointed. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're gonna have to go play with your stick. Yeah. I don't know, hopefully the camera can pick this up, but right here, we're talking about heaving. See how like tall this stalk is? That's kind of the start of the heaving process. So we wanna make sure this thing goes nice and far down into the pot. I'm just gonna kind of see where we are. Well, daggone, look at that. I love it when it just works out all by itself. It's the perfect height, and I've got plenty of room in here. So I don't have to take off any of the edges, and I didn't have to take any off the bottom. What I can do is just add the soil around it because I've got plenty of open space in the container, and it went down further. Really, the plant is sitting, like the top of the root ball is sitting probably 2.5 inches below the lip of the pot. I like to, I don't fill my pots completely all the way up because when I water, then the soil runs over and just makes a mess. So I like to leave a little bit of a lip anyway. So yes, I'm gonna semi-bury the top of this root ball because I see some heaving happen and I want to bury it deep. Before I add my soil, I am going to come with my clippers and just prune up the edges a little bit because we've got some really scraggly stuff here. So I'm just going to cut those leaves off. I'm going to put Proven Winners potting soil all around it, take my compost, top dress, just like I did right here. All right, my friends, so easy as that. We have transferred one euchera out of this pot into its new home. Everybody has lots of room for their roots to grow. My Carexes are going to be happier. This Southern Comfort is going to be happier, and this Southern Comfort is going to be happier. You can take this method and apply it to any shrub, any tree, any perennial that you have in a container. The method is going to be the same. Either you are going to remove that plant from the container and you're going to put it in your landscape, or remove it and put it into a bigger container. The thing about container gardening is the sustainability with the plant is that the plant has plenty of room for its roots to spread out, plenty of available nutrition to it and water to it. When that plant becomes so pot bound, root bound in a container, it is going to stop thriving and being as beautiful as it can be. At that point, you need to move it. Bigger container or the landscape. Doesn't matter if it's a euchera or a hydrangea, if it's a carex or if it's a Japanese maple tree, right? The method is still the same. Optimally, the best time to move your perennials, your shrubs, your trees from a container is in that dormancy period. Right now, could I do this in June? I absolutely could. I am, however, going to increase my risk of shocking the plants, meaning because I did cut roots, right? There is no doubt about it. I cut roots for both the Carex and both of these Eucharis. There's plenty of time now, and the weather is optimal for the roots to regrow and be very happy, get reestablished before the heat of the summer hits. That's what I have to worry about in North Carolina. I don't have to worry about my winters being too cold. I have to worry about the heat and the humidity of the summer. That is when it's most stressful for our plants. Doing it now completely essentially eliminates any shock that has happened to these plants because they're not actively trying to put on new foliage. They're still got, their action is down under in the roots. So they have plenty of time for those roots to start growing and be happy before the heat hits of spring, summer, and then I have my beautiful growth that will come along. So just kind of keep that in mind. You can transplant in the summer, but it's going to require a lot more work for you in the fact of you're going to have to be watering more often. You may have to give it a lot of shade protection, especially if it's more of a sun plant. You're going to have to give it shade protection so that it doesn't go into complete shock and possibly die. So if you can do it in fall, winter, late winter, early spring, that is the optimal time to do it. What I'm going to do is simply take this container now and put it up at the chicken coop in the garden where it is going to go. I have a little stone that it's going to sit on, that way it will drain it nice and properly. And then I'll give everybody a little bit of a drink of water, and today's project is complete. As always, we hope you have found this fun, informative, and inspirational. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends. Can you move, please? You're right in the shot of the camera. I know. Can you go get a toy? Okay, go get your toy. Go play. Good girl.